And I was watching a Maurice Strong video I saw yesterday. In fact, I sent it to you guys and forgot to play it, where he openly says in the 80s, oh, I've gotten in trouble for saying everybody should have a license to even have one kid in the U.S., but I do think that's the right thing to do. They're on record. And in this meeting with Oprah Winfrey and all these world leaders, the Rockefellers and people a month ago saying, you know, secret rich group meets to discuss reduction of population. This is all they're obsessed with.
Yes, it is. And unfortunately, as we know, with this odd situation that people cannot figure out, where governments bow to these characters, these private NGOs and foundations, and do what they're told, that tells you there is a parallel government that exists above the ones that we think we elect.
And they want you dead, folks. They don't even want to tax you and control you. They want you dead. It's the ultimate control freak, genocide, culling, wiping you out so they can inherit the New World Order promised land. Most of you listening, they're going to kill you. That's just a fact. We've got that link. We're going to post it up on prisonplanet.com and Infowars.com. I'd actually played this about a year ago, and I'd forgotten about it. I mean, there's so much evidence. It's daily where Maurice Strong's saying, you know, all these horrible things about the New World Order and international bankers calling us cannon fodder, the population. Alan, tell folks some of the things that are in this video. You've also got it linked up on thematrix.com. Tell folks about some of the things they say on this video.
George Hunt has a business to do with environmental friendly products and so on. So he goes to these meetings for the environment where Maurice Strong goes and Rothschilds go. And you'll hear Maurice Strong on two occasions, two clips within that video, introduce Lord Rothschild. And Lord Rothschild comes on and basically advocates for another United Nations fund to be set up, another special bank to deal with the environment, one in many that's already there. And Rothschild, of course, you find in the clip, this bank they want to set up, funded by our tax money as penalties against the environment, will go through Rothschild's private bank, their family bank in Switzerland. So he'll be in charge of it. This multi-trillionaire doesn't need money, but here he is handling everyone else's money in the forms of penalization against the environment. It's just astonishing.
And tell folks some of the other things that Maurice Strong says in here.
Well, Maurice Strong, of course, as we know, was picked up by Rockefeller himself, groomed from a young boy, and he's been in God knows for many top United Nations positions. Currently, he's set up by the United Nations to even further the integration of East and West in China. He lives in China at the moment, but still working for the UN. He's been in charge. He is the one who set up the biodiversity treaty on behalf of Rockefeller. We're all under it now, this biodiversity treaty. We have no rights at all as humans, and every insect on the planet now is elevated much, much higher than we are. And it's to do with natural resources. The sharing of natural resources cannot be left into the private hands. It must go into these elitist organizations. That was all done at the first Rio conference they had. But Maurice Strong, when you go into his history, you'll find this in public broadcasting networks, in the television sector. They did a documentary on him, and when he was in China, he went to a graveyard to put flowers at his aunt's grave, and she was the best advisor to Mao Zedong. These families are international, intergenerational revolutionaries for this New World Order. It runs in their families.
Well, that's why in '76, the huge editorial written by David Rockefeller saying Mao did a great job killing 60-plus million people. I mean, they're proud of their mass murder.
Yes. Yes, they are. And they also highly laud the population reduction for abortions, mandatory abortions in China. Remember, they have said personally, and the United Nations has also said, that China is the model state for the world to follow. We've all to follow their policies.
Continue with what they plan to do to us on record.
It's out in the open now. There's a whole bunch of British newspapers came out about a month ago. I read them on the air, mainstream media, where the Optimum Population Trust, another big non-governmental organization backed by the foundations, came out and called for the same policies as China to be mandated in Britain and the rest of Europe very shortly. They got front-page coverage, whole pages on this, and the government has some of these characters on their board. You know, the governments appoint people. The real players are appointed, they're not elected. And they appoint the tops of these groups on their panels for discussion. And then they implement policies and laws that affect us. So we're not run by any kind of democracy whatsoever. Democracy is a sham. In fact, democracy is just the staging rockets to allow these NGO boys, the real parallel government, to get on board with government and dictate to them.
And let's be clear, these videos of George Hunt that we've been posting for years, a lot of times he's the one even leading the meetings with Maurice Strong there. And he was there, and they started talking about getting rid of all of us, and this freaked him out, so he brought him out. But just bone-chilling to then see the New York Times and Washington Post every week with articles about, oh, look, the fifth grader comes home and writes up dossiers on mom, and the school has the kids in England and the U.S. writing mock tickets to their parents for taking a hot bath or having the wrong kind of light bulb or using too much AC. So the children are the little persecutors now. And the parents are in the news going, oh, I'm so proud of them tattling on me, just like in 1984, where Winston's upstairs neighbor is so proud of his kid that's tattling on him. And then even when he gets picked up and put in the prison, he goes, I'm so proud that my son turned me in. I don't know what it is that I did, but I'm sure I'm guilty. I'm glad Big Brother's going to torture me to death. And that's basically what the American people and Brits are like now. It's like, thank God the kids are turning us in.
We're on the
Yeah, I meant yesterday, it's funny that Maurice Strong got brought up by, well, it's not funny, it's tragic, we're on the same page, by Alan Watt, because I had a clip. I ran into a bunch of clips of him talking about licenses to have even one kid, total control, how that's the goal of the different United Nations treaties, that's the goal of global warming. Him in the 70s saying global warming is going to kill us by 2000. We've got to have one-child policies. Just incredible. So we're going to go back to Alan Watt here in just a moment. I would add, though, that the preeminent film exposing the globalist master plan, their overall agenda, what they have planned for you and your family, is my film, Endgame, Blueprint for Global Enslavement. Everybody needs to get this DVD at Infowars.com and make copies of it and get it out to everybody, because this is the mindset of those that govern the planet. This is their religion. It is what they work for every waking moment, to kill the majority of the world population. And first they've got to build an international straitjacket control grid, get you dependent in compact cities. All of the culling and sterilization and chemical and biological attacks and radiological attacks, that's all just been beta testing where they were kind of learning how to cook, like going to chef school. Now they've graduated, now they're ready to start the killing. But first they've got to get you fully on your knees and domesticated. So please get Endgame, Blueprint for Global Enslavement at Infowars.com, or call toll-free to get it, 888-253-3139, 888-253-3139. Or you can see it in super high quality and burn it to disc and give it to folks at prisonplanet.tv. You can also write to me, Alex Jones, at 3001 South Lamar, Suite 100, Austin, Texas, 78704. Then there's the Obama deception. This shatters the left-right paradigm. This is designed for the general public. It's also important viewing and for people that are experts on this, but it's really made for people to understand how the left and right are controlled, two false choices in a controlled dialectic, where the establishment manages both sides of this system. So the Obama deception available on DVD at Infowars.com as well, or again, prisonplanet.tv. See it in super high quality. It's an arsenal of resistance. You can make copies of it from prisonplanet.tv in the highest quality online with the DivX system that play on most DVD players as well. Okay, thank you, Alan, for holding while I thank our sponsors that make this whole operation possible. Don't forget to support Alan with his great books and videos he has available at cuttingthroughthematrix.com. Okay, Alan, again, you keep pausing for me to interrupt customarily, and I do add, I think, some important points, but I really want you to sit down and continue rolling with their operation, their plan, what's coming next, some of the other facets. Really, I normally guide the interviews. I'd like to sit back and let you follow your fancy.
Well, what we have really is a very ingenious plan that's going to use environmentalism and a war. Remember the Club of Rome, one of the premier think tanks that not predicts the future, they create the future. They create realities for the upcoming generations. They come up with the ideas, then they give it to the lesser think tanks to find ways to implement it through media, movies, and novels to society. Well, they came up in 1970s with the idea of global warming. And they say in their own book, the two founders say in their own book, The First Global Revolution, that they were looking for a way to unite the entire planet under a warfare scenario